As we approach the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks, we commemorate not just that fateful day, but the slow and painful recovery process. Then Governor George Pataki was one of those charged with aiding in search and rescue efforts and guiding the state of New York through the aftermath of the attack. And Governor Pataki joins us now with a look back. Governor, thanks so much for being here. I'm curious, what's your most vivid memory from that day?
The most vivid memory to me, there are two. First is when I saw the towers actually come down, and you have this horrific sense of loss of how many wonderful people are trapped in those towers and going to be died in the rubble. And then the second is that evening when I was down at ground zero with the flames rising from the pile, and the air, you could taste it, you could see it. It wasn't like it was clear air from the East River to the Hudson River. The sky was full of rubble and dust and debris. And it was just a scene out of Dante's Inferno. And those are just two horrific images from that day that will always be with me.
Now, a lot of the first responders who were at Ground Zero that day, of course, are now facing serious health problems as a consequence of the toxic dust at that site that you're referring to. So when you look back, do you think there was a failure to protect the health of our first responders there?
I think there's a failure to give them sufficient warning that what they were doing was extremely dangerous. You know, we were told the air quality was okay, and obviously it wasn't. And that day, and 24 hours a day for weeks and months thereafter, firefighters, construction workers, citizens, EMTs were on that pile, on the rubble, risking their lives to try to first save their fellow human beings and ultimately recover as many remains as possible. And they were incredibly courageous. They really inspired not just New York, I think they inspired America and the world. And now too many of them are sick. Some have died. And it's because that air quality wasn't what it had been represented. So I think we owe them not just a debt of gratitude, we owe them all our help with medical treatments, with examinations, and support for the families.
And I know on that note, you recently called for more funding to aid in that help that you're describing. Do you think enough has been done for those who were affected by their work on 9/11 and in the weeks and months after?
You know, I don't think you could ever do enough for the people who responded with such courage on September 11th. There was a lot of doubt as to what the future was going to be. We didn't know if there were going to be more attacks. We didn't know if America was going to be the same country after it. And yet people watched night and day and saw that courage, saw that strength under horrible conditions. And so we can never do enough for them, not just remembering them, as I believe we've appropriately done at Ground Zero, at the memorial, but helping them and their families as they go forward with these health consequences.
So what does this 20th anniversary mean to you, and how will you commemorate it?
You know, this is a tough one. They're all tough. I'll be down at Ground Zero as the names are read and the bells are rung when the planes hit and the towers came down. And as I have for 20 years, I'll see family members who I've gotten to know and will hug and shed a few tears. And I'll see firefighters and EMTs and police who I saw down there day after day after the planes hit, and will hug and say hi to each other. But I had really hoped that 20 years later, I could look to the future and say, aren't we in a great place? And if you look at Lower Manhattan, we are. The memorial is something that turned out exactly as I had hoped. It honors the memories of those who died. It tells the story to those who weren't born on September 11th. And it does so in a moving and appropriate way. And yet we still have enormous commerce, that's a spire of office towers culminating in the Freedom Tower. And I thought that 20 years later, America hasn't been attacked. We've denied the jihadists any sort of a victory after September 11th. But I have to say that I am just enormously troubled by Biden's actions in Afghanistan. I think they have inspired jihadists and those who hate America around the globe with greater desire to do damage to us and our friends. I fear it has scared our allies that they might not be able to longer feel that they can trust us when things get difficult. So I had hoped that this would be kind of a closure where 20 years we have rebuilt. We have this wonderful memorial and commerce back in 24-hour community in Lower Manhattan, and we are safe. We can say all the first part, but I'm no longer sure we can say that last part.
All right, former New York Governor George Pataki, we appreciate your time today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Nice being on with you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.